But let's just start right with the trig. Trigonometry itself, the first module is going to deal with two major topics, that being angles and conversions and arc length. And this first video is going to talk about angles, what they are, and what I call single and double unit conversions. Now, an angle itself is just simply a rotation, what you see up here. In other words, if I'm facing the camera now, but then something happens over here and I turn to face that direction, I've created an angle or a rotation. A lot of people think that it might be this distance between those two lines. It's not that actual distance. We're originally facing this direction, now we turn and we're facing this direction. That rotation is an angle. Now, angles are measured in two major units. There are other units, but we're going to measure them in either degrees, which you're very familiar with, or radians. In other words, if I ask how many degrees are in a circle, a lot of people would say 360 degrees. If I ask how many radians are in a circle, I would hear silence. Because radians are the original unit for angles, excuse me, and mathematicians use radians more than anybody. Engineers use degrees, or architects, both. And incidentally, there are 2 pi radians in one circle, and we'll talk about converting angles, I should say, between radians and degrees in a little bit. But first, let's talk about conversions in general. We have what we call a single unit conversion and a double unit conversion. A single unit conversion is just that, you're converting a single unit. For instance, if I asked you to convert 25 miles to kilometers, so basically we're converting from miles to kilometers. And I'll give you the conversion factor, which in this case, in 1 mile, they're approximately 1.609 kilometers. So what I want you to do is I want you to set this up as a ratio. You start with your 25 miles and put it over 1. And we're going to multiply by our conversion factor. Now, what dictates what goes where is quite simple. For units to cancel out, they either have to be vertical or diagonal. So if miles in our original unit is up top here, where must it be in our conversion? Well, to be diagonal, it must be on the bottom. Always put your units first. The numbers will fall into place. So miles go on the bottom. And what are we converting to? Well, we're converting those miles to kilometers. So kilometers go on top. And then since in 1 mile we have 1.609 kilometers, the 1 goes with the mile, 1.609 goes with the kilometers, and then you're basically multiplying fractions. If both of them are up top, you simply multiply. If one is up top and one's on the bottom, you divide. Easy as that. In this case, we're taking 25 times 1.609. We get approximately 40.23 if I round it to 2 decimal places. And notice now your miles cancel out. The only unit left are those kilometers. So the answer to that single unit conversion would simply be 40.23 kilometers. It's very simple, very straightforward. And I want you to follow this process because in a couple topics down the road, conversions become the sticky point. They're not difficult, they're just tedious. Now that's a single unit conversion. We also have what's called a double unit conversion. And in this case, we're doing the same thing, but we're doing it twice. For instance, if I asked you to convert 15 miles per hour to feet per second. So we're taking that speed of 15 miles per hour, converting it into a different unit. Given that 1 mile is 5,280 feet, and in 1 hour there are 3,600 seconds. So we start with our original here, which is 15 miles per 1 hour. Now, I hesitate to have anybody write it as MPH. Reason being, the per is that fraction bar. It's 15 miles per 1 hour. Always represent it, particularly when you're doing your calculations, as a ratio or as a fraction. And if miles are up top here, they must be on the bottom for our conversion. We're converting those miles to feet. Since hours are on the bottom here, they must be on top for our conversion. We're converting those hours to seconds. So seconds go on the bottom there. Again, start with the units. In fact, think of it as 15 miles per 1 hour. If miles are up top here, they go on the bottom, converting those to feet. So feet go up top. Hours on bottom here, so they must go up top for our conversion factor, converting those hours to seconds. So seconds are on bottom. So I want you to put the units in place first before you put the numbers. And the numbers just fall into place. You don't have 1 foot in 5,280 miles, but rather you have 5,280 feet in 1 mile. And in 1 hour, you have 3,600 seconds. So that's how we end up with what I have right above it. So unit-wise, miles cancel out, hours cancel out. So basically you have feet up top and seconds down bottom. That's feet per second. Then when you do the math, you multiply everything up top, you multiply everything on the bottom, then you divide. Notice down here you just have 1 times 1 times 3,600. That's naturally just going to be 3,600. So we're going to take the 15 times 5280 times 1, you'll get a number. Take that number divided by 3,600, and that's where we end up with 22. So when we convert 15 miles per hour to feet per second, we end up with 22 feet per second. And that's it.